the BAFTA is awarded to The Last of Us.
Let's see The Last of Us.
So The Last of Us won crazy big, basically.
And the Writers Guild Award goes to Neil Druckmann for The Last of Us.
If you've ever met me drunk at 2 a.m. outside a McDonald's, I'll probably be talking about this game. This episode, I'm going to attempt to get my feelings about this game in a more coherent manner. There's a lot of material out there on this game already which talk about how brilliant this game is. Channels like Nerdwriter have done amazing videos about this game, and I'd really recommend checking them out as well. But for the moment, I think you're going to be stuck with me and my pseudo-intellectualism.
Exactly what it is. It gets blocked up in my mouth. I don't say it no good. So.
Now, this game is broken into different chapters, each occurring in a different season. I'm going to be focusing on the winter chapter, and why I feel it's the emotional climax of the game as opposed to the final chapter, spring. Now, some of you listening might not have any idea what The Last of Us is, or might not have even played a video game before, and that's okay. What I hope this recording will do is maybe widen your horizons to what's possible in video games, and how they can be a work of art the same way a painting or a movie can. So all I ask is that you remain open to what I'm saying, and I'll try and catch you up the best I can on what's happening before the winter chapter and why it's relevant, as well as doing my best to get across what the experience of playing a game like The Last of Us is. Now, this will obviously contain heavy spoilers for The Last of Us, but I'm not going to discuss the ending of it in any great detail, so I'll leave that for you to discover yourself if you haven't already. So for the uninitiated, what is The Last of Us? I could tell you it's a video game by the company Naughty Dog, or that it's a zombie survival game that never says the word zombie, and it's set predominantly 20 years after the initial outbreak of the virus. But I think I'll let the game say what it's really about in its own way.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And no matter what, you keep finding something to fight for.
This game deals with survival and loss. It asks us who we are as people and what we're willing to do to survive. It questions what the difference is between surviving and living. There's an oppressive state that runs on martial law and an out-of-control virus. We're routinely shown how quickly society folded in on itself, and the very worst of what humanity is capable of. The composer for the music you'll hear throughout this episode is from Gustavo Santaolalla, who I'm going to let introduce himself in his own words, and what he brought to the music of the game in particular.
My life has been and still is kind of like a road movie. I grew up in Argentina. I came to the United States in 1978 because we had a horrible political situation in Argentina. We had a military dictatorship where 30,000 people disappeared at the hands of the government, and many other more were tortured, and I was blacklisted. It was just impossible for me to keep on living there. I've been in jailed many times since I was probably 15 years old, just because I had long hair and I play an electric guitar. So I had to embark on this trip. I can relate to that kind of need of movement and going to the next place and the next place and the next step.
The chapter I'm looking at in particular asks all these questions and more, as well as hinting at what I believe is the tragic nature of the two main characters, Joel and Ellie, and their relationship. But before all that, let's get up to speed with The Last of Us.
Tommy, listen to me. He is the contractor. He's the contractor, okay? I can't lose this job. I understand. Let's talk about this in the morning, okay? We'll talk about it in the morning. All right, good night.
Hey.
Scoot.
Monday at work, huh?
What are you still doing up? It's late.
Oh, crud, what time is it?
It's way past your bedtime.
But still today.
Honey, please not right now. I do not have the energy for this.
Here,
What's this?
your birthday. You kept complaining about your broken watch. So I figured, You like it?
Honey, this is... It's
What?
nice, but I think it's stuck. It's not...
What? No. Oh, ha ha.
Where did you get the money for this?
Drugs. I sell hardcore drugs.
Oh, good. You started helping out with the mortgage then.
Yeah, you wish.
We begin with a prologue, only about 15 minutes long. We meet our main character Joel and his daughter Sarah. The initial outbreak begins. Sarah, Joel and his brother Tommy try and escape to safety but are separated along the way. After getting out of the city, Joel and Sarah are stopped by a soldier. Tommy arrives to help, but is too late.
It's okay, baby. We're safe. We're safe. Hey, we need help.
Stop!
Please. It's my daughter. I think her leg is broken.
Stop right there!
Okay, we're not sick.
Got a couple of civilians in the outer perimeter. Please advise.
Daddy, what about Uncle Tommy?
We're gonna get you to safety and go back for him, okay?
Sir, there's a little girl. But... Yes, sir.
Somebody, we've just been through hell. Okay, we just need... Oh, shit. Please don't. Oh, no. Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. God. Listen to me, I know this hurts, baby. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby, I know it hurts. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby, I know. Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. No. No. No, no. Please. Please don't. Please.
The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
There are hundreds and hundreds of bodies lining the streets.
Panic spread worldwide after a leaked report from the World Health Organization showed that the latest vaccination tests have failed.
With the bureaucrats out of power, we can finally take the necessary steps.
Los Angeles is now the latest city to be placed under martial law. All residents are required to report to their designated quarantine. Riots have continued for a third consecutive day, and winter rations are at an all-time low.
A group calling themselves the Fireflies have claimed responsibility for both attacks.
Their public charter calls for the return of all branches of government.
Demonstrations broke out following the execution of 6 more alleged Fireflies.
You can still rise with us. Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. Believe in the Fireflies.
This game's zombie virus is slightly different from other versions you might have seen before in popular culture. It's actually based on the real-life cordyceps fungus, which you might have come across before on the show Planet Earth.
These bullet ants are showing some worrying symptoms. Spores from a parasitic fungus called cordyceps have infiltrated their bodies and their minds. Its infected brain directs this ant upwards. Then, utterly disorientated, it grips a stem with its mandibles. Those afflicted that are discovered by the workers are quickly taken away and dumped far away from the colony. It seems extreme, but this is the reason why. Like something out of science fiction, the fruiting body of the cordyceps erupts from the ant's head.
The game imagines what life would be like if there was a fungus for humans, spread by spores and bites from infected. The longer you have the virus, the more your body is physically altered by the fungus, and the more dangerous you become to others. It's hard to convey how visually gruesome some of the infected are in the game over audio, because they don't look or sound like any zombie you've come across before. 20 years on from the initial outbreak and Sarah's death, Joel is charged with delivering Ellie, a 14-year-old girl who is immune to the virus, to the Fireflies, a militia group who believe they can change the world for the better. The journey takes the two across different parts of the US and gradually builds up a relationship between the two, going from detesting each other to willing to lay down their lives for each other. At first, Joel agrees to help Ellie out of personal gain, then for a favor he owed a dying partner, and then slowly because he wants to, and because he cares about Ellie. Along the way, we meet different characters and allies who represent the perils of the journey Joel and Ellie are going on. Not just the obvious ones, but the dangers of relying on other people, and the risks that come with that. We meet Bill, who Joel and Ellie need in order to get a car from to take them cross-country to the Fireflies. Bill is an extremely paranoid man, and holds up a mirror to Joel of what you can end up like if you focus only on surviving and looking after yourself. He warns Joel about caring about Ellie.
This goes on record as the worst fucking job you've ever taken.
It's up there.
Seriously, you gotta take that kid back to where you found her.
I can't just take her back.
Then send her packing, let her find her own way. Look, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. It was a partner. Somebody I had to look after. And in this world, that sort of shit's good for one thing. Getting you killed. So you know what I did? I wisened the fuck up. And I realized it's gotta be just me.
Bill, it ain't like that. It's
bullshit. It is just like that. Hey! What'd I say to you when we walked down the steps? What'd I say?
I'm just fixing your stupid pile.
Don't touch. God damn it. You keep babysitting long enough and eventually it's gonna blow up in your face.
Can we please just get on with it?
And we later discover what happened to the person he cared about.
Jesus. What, you know this guy or something?
Frank.
Who the hell's Frank?
He was my partner. He's the only idiot that would wear a shirt like that. He's got bites. Here. And
I reckon he didn't want to turn, so he...
Yeah, I guess not. Well, fuck him.
Look what I found. It's got some juice in it.
That's my battery. Fucking asshole. Get out. Get out.
Okay. Jeez.
Battery's drained, but cells are alive.
Meaning?
Meaning, we push it, get it started, and the alternator will recharge the battery.
Is that your guess?
Look, you wanted a plan B. This is as good as it gets.
What are you thinking?
Thinking you drive and we push. You're doing a good job. I figured you should know that.
I won't let you down with this.
All right, let's do it.
Put her in first.
Already did it.
Just keep your foot on the clutch. And when we get to...
I know how to pop a clutch.
How the hell... You know what? I don't care. Just don't fuck it up.
All right, Ellie, get ready. Now, hit it! Hit it!
Further on, we meet Henry and Sam, two brothers trying to make it through a city taken over by bandits just like you are. Working together, you escape the city and the suburbs, but not before Sam, the younger brother, is bitten.
Damn. That smells good.
Good morning.
Where's Sam?
I let him sleep in for once.
Oh.
Well, if you want him to join us, you can go wake his ass up.
Okay. Sam? Sam!
What the hell? Shit, he's turning! That's my fucking brother! Screw it!
Shit!
Ellie? Ellie, are you alright?
Oh my god.
Sam?
Oh no.
Sam? Henry? Ellie, stay there. Henry?
What have you done?
I'm gonna get that gun from you, okay? Oh, okay, easy.
This is your fault.
This is nobody's fault, Henry.
It's all your fault!
Henry! Henry, no!
Oh my god.
Henry and Sam represent the danger of investing in people. How caring about people in such a dangerous world can leave you worse than dead. Eventually, Joel delivers Ellie to his brother Tommy, who used to be part of the Fireflies. Joel hopes Tommy will be able to take Ellie off his hands and deliver her the rest of the way to the Fireflies. Tommy has also set up a sort of community next to a hydroelectric plant, and his small village offers a hope of what some sort of life worth living could be like for Ellie and Joel after their journey is over. When Ellie finds out Joel intended to ditch her all along, she runs off. Joel and Tommy pursue before finding her reading a diary in an abandoned house.
Ellie!
Up here.
Christ.
Is this really all they had to worry about? Boys, movies, deciding which shirt goes with which skirt. It's bizarre.
Get up. We're leaving. Come on.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk? It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area
Oh,
better
fuck
than...
that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. And we are going our separate ways. Get it together. We're not alone.
After defeating the bandits in the house, Joel, Tommy, and Ellie set off to go their separate ways. But at the last minute, Joel changes his mind.
Where is this lab of theirs?
It's all the way out, University of Eastern Colorado.
Go Bighorns. Ellie, get off your horse. Give it on back to Tommy.
I'm gonna hang on to this fella. That's all right with you. Go on, don't make me repeat myself.
What are you doing?
Your wife kind of scares me. I don't want her coming after you.
Sorry for stealing your horse.
Well, come back to town. Let's discuss it at least.
You know me, my mind's all made up. University, Eastern Colorado. How do I find this lab?
It's in the science building. Looks like a giant mirror. You can't miss it.
You take care of that wife of yours.
There's a place for you here. You know?
You good?
I'm good.
Adios, little brother.
After finding that the Firefly base is abandoned, Joel is seriously wounded by a group scavenging for supplies, and falls from a balcony, impaled on a metal rod sticking up from the ground that goes right through his stomach.
Joel?
I'm gonna need you to pull.
Okay. Right, you ready? 1, 2, 3! Here.
Let's get to the damn horse.
Put your arm around me. All right, let's go. I swear to God, to get you out of this, you're so singing for me.
You wish.
After Ellie is able to get Joel safely out of the university, we arrive at the winter chapter. For the first time in the game since playing as Joel's daughter Sarah, the player is alone. There's no ally or bad guys nearby. The chapter opens with a rabbit hopping about in the snow, before an arrow is embedded in its neck and we see Ellie hunting. And for the first time we play as Ellie. It's hard to convey what a jarring change in the game this is. Not just the switch in protagonist, but the fact we're so alone in the wild. What my summary didn't explain is how Ellie isn't just a bystander in the action. She helps you complete puzzles, takes down your opponents, and fetches you valuable supplies. But you also feel protective of her, whether it's helping her cross flowing rivers because you can't swim, or making sure she doesn't get killed by the infected. Joel, who is a more traditional video game protagonist, embodies this protectiveness, and once he's gone, we're left as Ellie, a little more vulnerable, a little more scared, but still deadly. Continuing the hunting, Ellie chases after a stag. But after tracking it down, 2 men appear offering to trade the stag for medical supplies, which Joel badly needs. And we meet David.
Who's there? Come out!
Hello? We just want to talk.
Any sudden moves and I put one right between your eyes. Ditto for buddy boy over there. What do you want?
Name's David. This here's my friend James. We're from a larger group. Women, children. They're all very, very hungry.
So am I. Women and children, all very hungry too.
Well, maybe we could, trade you for some of that meat there. What do you need? Weapons? Ammo? Clothes?
Medicine! Do you have any antibiotics?
We do. Back at the camp. You're welcome to follow us
I'm
back.
not following you anywhere. Buddy boy can go get it. He comes back with what I need. The deer is all yours. Anyone else shows up...
You put one right between my eyes.
That's right.
While waiting with David, infected attack, forcing the two to work together. Ellie and David survive unscathed, and David's friend returns with the supplies.
Well, you handled yourself pretty nice back there. Whew. I'd say we make a pretty good team.
We got lucky.
Lucky? No. No such thing as luck. Now, you see, I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
I do. And I can prove it to you. Now, this winter, that's been especially cruel. A few weeks back, I sent a group of men out to a nearby town to look for food. Only a few came back. They said that the others had been slaughtered by a crazy man. And get this, he's a crazy man traveling little girl. You see, everything happens for a reason. No. Don't get upset. It's not your fault. You're just a kid. James, lower the gun.
No way, David. I'm not gonna let her go.
Lower the gun. Now give her the medicine.
The others won't be happy about this.
Yeah, well, that's not your concern.
Move the fuck out of the way.
You won't survive long out there. I can protect you.
No, thanks.
After giving Joel the antibiotics she traded, Ellie is tracked down by members of David's group to where her and Joel are hiding out. She flees on horseback to distract her pursuers from where Joel is. However, Ellie is captured and taken to David. Meanwhile, Joel wakes up and sets after Ellie, interrogating two of David's men nearby. We cut back to Ellie, who is being holed up in what looks like some sort of abattoir, except for human meat. And the lengths that David has gone to in order to survive are revealed.
How are you feeling?
Super.
Here. You should eat. I know you're hungry. You've been out for quite some time.
What is it?
It's deer.
With some human helping on the side?
No. No, I promise. It's just the deer meat.
You're a fucking animal.
It's awfully quick to judgment. Considering you and your friend killed how many men?
They didn't give us a choice.
And you think we have a choice? Is that it? You kill to survive. And so do we. We have to take care of our own, by any means necessary.
So now what? You gonna chop me up into tiny pieces?
I'd rather not. Please tell me your name.
You're so full of shit.
On the contrary, I've been quite honest with you. Now I think it's your turn. It's the only way I'm going to be able to convince the others.
Convince them of what?
That you can come around. You have heart. You're loyal. And you're special.
Oh.
You stupid little girl. You are making it very difficult to keep you alive. What am I supposed to tell the others now?
Ellie.
What?
Tell them that Ellie is the little girl that broke your fucking finger!
Ellie's able to escape from David, and here's where things take a turn from how the game is previously played. Throughout The Last of Us, you use a hearing sense which kind of operates like a radar to show you where your enemies are nearby. It enables you to sneak up on them and take them out by stealth. Subconsciously, you're put in the role of the hunter. You're the all-seeing predator, and your enemies are the unsuspecting prey. However, in this chapter, enemies begin to use stealth against you. They can hide, just like you, and avoid showing up on your radar. Furthermore, if you make sound, they will use that to track you down, just as Ellie uses sound to track them down. This is just one of several beats in which the role of hunter and prey is switched around. From Ellie and the deer and rabbit, to meeting David and Joel's return. Each time the narrative swings to give you the upper hand or turn the tables against you. As Ellie escapes from David, there's a whiteout going on outside. A blizzard severely impacts your hearing sense, as well as obscuring vision. Although your enemies are also affected, you haven't got any of your usual gear or weapons. You're forced to scavenge bottles and bricks to use to help you escape. And this isn't the first time the game has exploited a common mechanic in order for a narrative beat to take place. A staple of video games is the tutorial level, where you're brought up to speed of what you need to do in order to help you complete the game. Frequently this involves target practice with the weapons that appear in the game. The Last of Us is a little bit different. Your first tutorial with your gun takes place in this situation.
Watch it, watch it. Help me. My mask broke. Don't leave me to turn. Please.
What do you want to do? Poor bastard.
Someone has been trapped under a piece of rubble, which has caused their gas mask to break and allowed the lethal spores to infect him. So you can choose to leave the guy to be infected, or you can end his pain. Either way, it forces you to make a choice about who you are and what you believe, while disguising it as a tutorial. You later piece together through notes hidden throughout the level that the guy was one of several who were attempting to sneak in to the relative safety of the quarantine zone. Because you meet him at the start of the level as you attempt to break out of the quarantine zone, he must have been just a short way from safety before his mask broke. Going back to the winter chapter, the change in stealth mechanic sets you up for your final encounter with David. Just as Ellie thinks she is about to escape the whiteout, David jumps out and grabs her.
It's all right. There's nowhere to go. You want out? You're gonna have to come get these keys.
The only way out is by killing him. David is like you, a hunter and a survivor. He can stealth to avoid you hearing him and track you down if you make too much noise, and potentially surprise you from behind while you attempt to sneak up on him. Just as I was saying earlier, the lines between who is hunting who become increasingly blurred, not only from a gameplay angle, but also narratively. So far, if you're listening to this, David must seem like the obvious, creepy bad guy. He's got the creepy voice.
That was good, kid. It's gonna be all right. Hello, Ellie.
Many people interpret a sexual undercurrent to his interactions with Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, and he's also a cannibal. But I think he's more than just the creepy cannibal bad guy. I think he's another example of what it means to survive in the world of The Last of Us. When we first meet him, he says this.
Name's David. This here's my friend James. We're from a larger group. Women, children. They're all very, very hungry.
So am I. Women and children, all very hungry too.
Notice how Ellie immediately lies back about needing supplies for women and children. When I was playing this game the first time, I thought David must be lying too. We definitely don't meet any women or children while exploring his camp, but there's one bit of dialogue that's easy to miss that actually proves the opposite.
The girl, she's infected and she got out.
This is bad, David.
I need you to round up everyone who isn't armed and get them clear out of here. Come on.
I'll take the kids to the shelter.
David and his followers aren't aware they're being eavesdropped on, so why would they lie? David was telling the truth about women and children in desperate need of supplies. Throughout the game, Ellie, and especially Joel, cross moral lines in order to protect each other. The violence of the game is brutal. You're strangling people, slitting throats, smashing faces against bricks. And if you mess up, Joel and Ellie's deaths can be just as brutal. It's pretty intense. Now for many people, cannibalism would be a line they wouldn't cross. Killing a 14-year-old girl would be a line they wouldn't cross. And yet, let's say you have a group of hungry children. Food is scarce, and it's been a cold, cold winter. And some old crazy guy and a 14-year-old girl just killed a bunch of your men sent to scavenge for food. The old man you don't care about, but but the girl could be useful. You give her many opportunities to join your group, but she kills many of your men. Now, I don't think David is defensible when we try and apply the rules of the world we live in, but then again, I don't think Joel is. This probably all sounds a bit devil's advocate, and I think Joel is a better person than David, but the point I'm trying to make is that David is like a bad mix of Tommy and Joel. He will do anything to protect his community. Like I said, this game asks you, what are you willing to do to survive? And is that a life worth living?
You want some gear? Sure. But I ain't taking that girl off your hands.
This is how you gonna repay me, huh?
Repay you?
For all those goddamn years I took care of us.
Took care? That's what you call it? I got nothing but nightmares from those years.
You survived because of me.
It wasn't worth it.
I bring you the cure from mankind, and you wanna play the pissy little brother.
We ain't back in Boston. You lay your hands on me again, it won't end well for you.
The encounter with David while playing as Ellie is long and claustrophobic. People playing this game describe how they realize they haven't unclenched their stomach or taken a deep breath in a while due to the intensity of its encounters. You can't approach it like you've approached encounters before with Joel, in that you can use brute force to take down your opponents. Because Ellie's smaller in stature, she has to rely on stealth and surprise in order to get the upper hand, but you're playing against someone who's just as skilled as that as you are, if not better. And it becomes a test of wills. Who's more willing to survive? Finally, we get to the showdown.
I knew you had heart. You know, it's okay to give up. Ain't no shame in it. I guess not. Just not your style, is it? You can try begging.
Fuck you.
You think you know me? Huh? Well, let me tell you something. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Stop! Stop!
Fucking touch me!
It's okay. It's me. It's me. It's me. Look. It's me.
He tried to...
Oh, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
It's okay.
For me, this moment is the emotional climax of The Last of Us. When I played it the first time, there's this sense of family, this sense of coming together between the two. And I think it's backed up by the way the scene mirrors when Joel lost Sarah. But when playing it the second time, I noticed that the scene also mirrors another shot we've seen before, something I mentioned earlier that happened at the beginning of the Winter Chapter. The machete that Ellie used to kill David protrudes from his body the exact same way the arrow protrudes from the rabbit's body we saw at the start of the chapter. Animals are frequently used to portray innocence in a brutal world, or the loss of innocence. And I think that machete is supposed to remind us how in this scene, Ellie's last shred of childhood innocence is lost. We've been paying more attention to Joel's journey throughout this game, and a big theme of Joel's journey is time, or the progression of it. The first scene when we meet Joel, you can hear the ticking in the background, and then the present that his daughter Sarah gives Joel is a watch, and he still wears that watch 20 years later, even though it's broken, to remind him of the night he lost her. A lot of this game for me seems bound up in the idea of time as well. The game is divided into seasons, and the world that you inhabit seems like it's been left on pause. In abandoned restaurants, you can still see the day's specials from when the outbreak occurred. Broken clocks adorn walls wherever you go, and it seems like whole towns and cities just got up and left. And in many ways, Joel's life stopped 20 years ago, and it's only with Ellie that his life has started to begin again. And this journey distracts us from the journey that Ellie has been making as well, because I believe that Joel loses Ellie here as she comes to the end of her own journey within the game. and tragically, they miss each other. We've seen Ellie transition from the girl who was so full of wonder for the outside world, having been raised in a quarantine zone, and now she is fully aware of what it takes to survive in this brutal world, and the depths of cruelty that people are capable of in order to do this. And for the rest of the game, Ellie appears distant and reserved, and her and Joel failed to connect in the way they have previously. You see, before this, I never understood the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus, the famous singer of ancient Greece, whose voice could split the earth and charm even the gods. He persuades Hades and Persephone to let him leave with the ghost of his dead wife, Eurydice, taking her from the underworld itself, on one condition, that he never looks back to see if she's following behind him. And yet he does look back, and he loses her forever. And when I played this game again, I was able to find meaning in that story. And I think that's what all great stories are capable of. Because I think many of us, whether we know it or not, carry a ghost with us. Like Joel, we can spend our whole lives trying to find anything to heal the wound, to let go. But it's that selfish spirit of love that makes us double down, hold on tighter, to take that one last look back, hoping they're still behind us. But they're gone.